All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rachak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting the good fight of faith and truth and sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believers. Shalom to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Now, as you see on the screen, it said all banks in Cuba. I did a video on this last week. All the banks in Cuba are running out of money. U.S. is next. No food. Now, all through the scriptures, when majority of scriptures, like when it comes to like sword, famine, things like that, pestilence, it's all talking about, Babylon the Great. But remember, the scripture says this. Oops. This applies everywhere. So it said, for then there should be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be, and except those days shall be shortened, shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days should be short. So this don't just apply to Babylon the Great, aka America. This applied to everywhere.
Breaking news, breaking news. Listen to me right now. You need to listen to this important information that no one is speaking about it. Everybody is ignoring this. Cuba is running out of money. All the banks in Cuba are running out of money. This can happen in USA too. Listen, that's how the government is going to start taking power. This man right here has 3 days trying to take money out of the bank, and he haven't, because all the ATM says out of service. Listen to this reporter straight from Cuba, what is going on
taken
right
to the streets once again last Sunday in Santiago de Cuba and also in other areas near Santiago. So
now the so-called Cubans are Manasseh in the scriptures, and their name fit perfectly because the true name of Manasseh is Manasseh in the Hebrew, which means made to forget. Cuba is one of those countries and those Israelites that you really don't see, you really don't talk about. But as you see, the Lord is judging this place because the scripture says, even though this is talking about the people who know the truth, but if you are an Israelite, this applies too. So it said, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? All right. So judgment is going to come to his people. That's why this scripture start off with this. Alas, alas, for that day is great. That is nothing like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay. So trouble is going to start with you, Israel. But he should be saved out of it, talking about the elect.
Hundreds of people. So
also remember back, I want to say like 2010 or 11. It could be earlier than that. Anywhere from 2009 to like 2013, when Venezuela had this problem. Basically, they was spending like a big stack of money for a loaf of bread, So these are different times. When we see things like this is not 10 years ago. This is not 15 years ago. We are literally at the end. The infrastructure is in place. And you also have to understand, Cuba is 91 miles south of Florida. Not that far. Okay? So this is an experiment like Esau always do. He like to see how things work out. So it look like Cuba is being judged right now. But as I say on the title of this video, U.S. is next. No fool, it is next because it's scripture. The Lord talks about how it's going to be a famine in the land. The Lord talks about how his servants is going to eat, his servants is going to drink, but you shall howl for vexation of spirit. Isaiah 65:13. So the Lord talks about all of that. But these things is going to happen to America. This is why we prophesy on these things. See, you might look at it, talk about a person who don't understand the truth. Oh, this happened in Asia. This happened in Japan. Oh, this happened in the Middle East. This happened in India. You might look at it like, oh, well, that don't concern me. The Lord is saving Babylon the Great for last, because this is the place of great future judgment. But this is close to home. Like I said, Florida is part of the United States, right? This is 90 miles from Florida.
To the streets in response to electric power outages that are controlled by the state and the regime.
What we've been prophesying for the past couple years, EMPs. So imagine no food, no power, no money. And if you got money, because everybody rushed to the bank to take out money, the money is not even enough to fulfill your appetite because the food is so high. As you seeing right now, that's happening in America and all over the world. Food prices continue to go up. Your bills continue to go up. So what you think is going to happen? It's going to first start off with scarcity inflation, which means less goods, and it's going to cost more because it's less. Then it's going to come to a point in time where you can't even afford it. And then that's going to be a famine. Because then the money is going to be basically toilet paper, which it really is in the first place. And all of this is order out of chaos. That's what all of this is about. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to title this video. Everything is order out of chaos with this devil.
Also, food crisis. In Cuba, there is very little food for the amount of millions of people that are on the island. And so Cubans since began practicing once again at the stage of thousands of protesters their activism.
Now, when I watch this, right, because they protesting, right, this is what you would call a sedition among men. Now, when these things hit America, the reason that it's going to be worse here because out of all the countries in the world, America have been spoiled. You can go and buy, like, you got people who eat meat every day, but in most countries, meat is a delicacy. You have access to food. If you got the money to get it, you can eat all day if you wanted to. Most countries don't have that liberty. They don't even have that chance. So imagine when you tell Americans that they can't eat. And then when this devil, because we are in the time of draconian laws, Revelation 13 and 11. Okay, he came as a lamb, a docile, acting like he had your best interest at heart. The two political parties. Now he speak as a dragon. Revelation 13 and 11, I just quoted. So when these things start to happen and American people start realizing, like, damn, I got no rights, is being taken away, the sedition among men. And if I'm not mistaken, I think America is the country that got the most arms. So it's like over 330 million in America. And I think they say it's like 300 million weapons in America. So that's why when the scripture said, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. So when the scripture says, fighting with swords in their hand, I'm pretty sure Cuba got some weapons too. But these scriptures be talking about Babylon the Great. For the sword and its destruction draweth nigh, and one people should stand up and fight against another with swords in their hand. The modern day sword is the gun. For there should be sedition among men and invading one another. You think that's not what's going on in Cuba right now? The scripture says nothing new under the sun. And all these plagues is going to, hit all the earth. And invading one another, they should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power, because they got no choice. They got to fight. They got to fight to get the rights that they think that they have. So in that day, say if the riot gets so out of hand, that's why the next scripture says, a man should desire to go into a city should not be able, because of the sedition, there's going to be martial law. What the hell? Okay.
Breaking news.
Food for the amount of millions of people that are on the island. And so Cubans since began practicing once again at the stage of thousands of protesters their activism. They've been engaging in rights that they don't have, but they've been demanding that they have a right to talk and to engage with each other and the public and the international community on their complaints with the current government, which is repression, which is silence, a lot of propaganda. And so the Cubans are out on the streets. Once again, it's getting hotter and hotter. It's almost, summer, and there's very little power. There's old technology that is somewhat comparable to old 1950s cars.
Man, this phone acting stupid. But anyways, so everything is ordered out of chaos. And this is why the Lord said this. One of my favorite chapters. So it said, the earth mourneth and it fadeth away, the world languish and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. So remember, the scripture says in 2 Esdras 8:50 that many miseries because of their pride. All right. For because of their pride, many great miseries shall happen to them in the later time, because they have walked in great pride. See, I just butchered the hell out of that scripture, but basically that's what it says. All right. Many great miseries shall happen to them in the later time because they have walked in great pride. There we go. So that's the haughty. And it said, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the law, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Because this devil, he is the wicked, and he do everything contrary. He put usury upon people. He steal people's resources. He remove people's landmarks. This is what he do. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth. See? And they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burnt. That's talking about being angry when you go into that word burnt. And few men left. Because everything is about depop. A lot of people, if the people don't come to the Cubans' aid, here we go again.
Breaking news.
Propaganda.
If the people don't come to the Cuban aid, the Cubans' aid, Manasseh, then a lot of people are going to die of famine. And as the scripture said, if you escape the famine, then the sword going to get you. And if you escape the famine and the sword, the pestilence is going to get you. So there's no way that you can escape, but the Lord is judging these people. And I'm going to end it on this after the video.
And so the Cubans are out on the streets. Once again, it's getting hotter and hotter. It's almost, summer, and there's very little power. There's old technology that is somewhat comparable to old 1950s cars. And so you don't have an efficient electric system. And you have an electric system that's controlled by the state, that is at times weaponized by the state, just like food is weaponized by the state. So
see, that's called chaos out of order out of chaos, because they reap up all the resources, and now they're looking to you to beg them. So you already know what scripture I'm about to end is on, because that's what it's all about.
The economic conditions, I don't want your viewers to think it is something that is just happening naturally. No, this is something controlled internally by the Cuban regime. And most of the time it has to do with weaponizing both food and electricity so the people won't demand their human rights.
Hey,
Breaking news.
That's what it's all about, man. Everything lead to this. Because this is the conclusion of the matter. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich or poor, free or bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're going to have to enter into his system. You're going to have to be digitally implanted to participate in his system. But before he do that, a lot of people got to go, because he said that he want to maintain, population under 500 million. So that's a lot of people got to go. And that's easier to control than 7.8 billion people on the earth. So after that, that's why the scriptures talk about the devil coming down with great wrath. He's trying to depop. That's in the scriptures. That's in Isaiah 24, the first 3 scriptures. When you go into that word wasted, it goes into Bakwak, and one of the definitions is to annihilate. And another word is Balak, and it goes into depopulate. So the scripture's on point, man. So here's wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. And then how ironic that the World Economic Forum have 666 in their slogan. I mean their logo. All right. So for it is a number of a man, Esau, Edom. And his number is 603 score and 666. And you got 666 in a lot of logos. The Google, Disney, Fox, all right, the Monster drink. So you got 666 everywhere, man. But the point is, that's what it's all about. Order out of chaos to bring forth the M.O.T.B. So all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.